This is Atmabodha. Today is March 27th, 2022. The title of today's podcast is Episode 75, Sahaja Samadhi. I had some comments on my last podcast, and upon further research as well, there was some question as to what I was describing was not actually Savikalpa Samadhi, but Sahaja Samadhi, since some people define the former Samadhi as being something that is only done in a meditative practice, whereas the latter, Sahaja Samadhi, is something that is done or experienced all of the time, no matter if you're in a spiritual practice or not, whether you're working, whether you're talking, whether you're doing a podcast, whether you're engaging with other people, whether or not, whatever you're doing, whether it be eating, sleeping, if you're able to maintain that state of bliss and connection with the universe 100% all of the time, then that would be considered Sahaja Samadhi. And so what I want to do at this point is read what Chopra.com says about the various stages of Samadhi. This link was given to me by a fellow by the name of David on one of the Slacks that I'm a part of. I'm going to go ahead and start reading that now. The 3 levels of Samadhi. The Yoga Sutras describe the way to regain higher consciousness, by Roger Gabriel. The Yoga Sutras describe the way to regain higher consciousness. As you follow the 8 limbs of yoga, you can reach the freedom and enlightenment of Samadhi, the realization of your spiritual practices. In his illuminating text, the Yoga Sutras, the sage Patanjali introduces a systematic path to regain higher consciousness. This has been called Raja Yoga, or the Royal Path, a journey of techniques and lifestyle guidelines to awaken the mind to its true self. Within the text, Patanjali provides a concentrated set of instructions known as the 8 limbs of yoga, culminating in a state of freedom, liberation, ecstasy, and enlightenment. Samadhi, the realization of all your spiritual practices. Meditative Absorption. Patanjali explains that Samadhi is a state of meditative absorption attained by the practice of dharana, focused attention, and dhyana, effortless meditation. When the true essential nature is known without distortion of the mind, it can be thought of as the culmination of your meditation process. Samadhi is the mind in its most concentrated state and can be compared to normal thought as a laser beam can be compared to normal light. The awareness of the meditator, process of meditation, and the object of your meditation have all merged into one. From knowledge, you have become knowingness. The mind in Samadhi possesses power that a normal mind does not, making it the main tool the yogi uses to achieve the end goal of yoga, the joining of the individual self with the universal absolute. Be deserving. The Vedas say that everything in the universe has awareness. Rocks, plants, animals, and humans all have awareness to a greater or lesser degree. The Vedas also state that only humans have the potential for self-awareness. Dogs, for example, don't ask, "Who am I?" This means that every human being has the potential to become fully aware and reach the state of Samadhi. However, practice alone does not guarantee Samadhi. The Guru Gita says, Moksha Mulam, Guru Kripa, the root of liberation, is the Guru's grace. To reach Samadhi, you have to deserve it. Samadhi is beyond the normal mind and intellect, which makes describing it somewhat difficult. It can only be fully appreciated by direct experience. Samadhi has several levels of refinement through which you may ascend. Level 1, Savikalpas Samadhi. This first level of Samadhi has within it 4 different stages. The beginning stages of Savikalpa Samadhi are where, during meditation, you transcend all mental activity. Patanjali says that for a short period of time, you lose all human consciousness. In this state, the concepts of time and space are altogether different. For a minute, an hour, or more, you are in another world. Now you see that practically everything happens spontaneously. You have nothing to do. Thoughts and ideas do not affect you. You remain undisturbed, and your inner being functions in a dynamic and confident manner. However, this is not yet a permanent state, and everybody has to return to ordinary consciousness. As you begin to integrate this undisturbed state of silence along with the disturbed states of waking, dreaming, and sleeping, Patanjali describes the 4 stages of Savikalpas Samadhi that are possible. Stage 1, Sarvatarkas Samadhi. Here the mind totally focuses on the gross aspect of a physical object. This is described as, quote, examination, unquote, or learning the, quote, inner secrets, unquote, of the object. In this stage, every aspect of the object is understood, and you gain full knowledge of the physical object. Stage 2, Sahaja Samadhi. Now the mind moves beyond the outer layers of the object, and the subtle aspects of objects, tamatras, are contemplated or discerned. The abstract qualities such as redness, beauty, love, or the sound, texture, form, flavor, etc. of the object begin to be understood. Stage 3, Sahaja Samadhi. Here the mind is devoid of the objective world. You move beyond the intellect. There is no reasoning or reflection, just the tranquility of the settled mind. The sattvic pure mind is only aware of its own joy. The focus is on the inner powers of perception and within the mind itself. It's known as a, quote, blissful, unquote, samadhi, filled with joyful peace. Stage 4, Asmita Samadhi. Now, even the bliss is gone, and you are just here. Only the sattvic, parentheses, pure ego, the I-ness remains, the I am. Simple awareness of individuality. You are here and aware of nothing else. This is the ego sense in its elemental form. No fear, no desire. This samadhi can be likened to what is known in the Sankara tradition as cosmic consciousness. The mind becomes fully awake. It is a state of witnessing of the material world, and you become aware of the divinity, bliss within yourself. In Savikalpas Samadhi, the samskaras, the latent tendencies or past impressions which condition your life and desires, have not yet been dissolved. They still remain in seed form. The great Indian saint Ramana Maharshi described Savikalpa Samadhi as, quote, holding on to reality with effort, unquote. In this samadhi, the concentrated mind can begin to access some of the, quote, lesser yogic powers, otherwise known as siddhis. However, because the ego is still present, you must be careful how you choose to use these powers. If you use them with a pure motive, you can greatly serve humanity and will progress on your spiritual journey with humility. If you choose to use them for personal greed and ambition, you may cause harm and stall your spiritual progress. Level 2, Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Nirvikalpa Samadhi is a higher state of awareness where the ego and samskaras have been dissolved and only consciousness remains. Patanjali says the material world has become like a shadow from which you are completely free. In Nirvikalpa Samadhi, there is no mind as you know it. There is only infinite peace and bliss. Here, nature's dance stops, and the knower and the known become one. Here you enjoy a supremely divine, all-pervading, self-amorous ecstasy. You become the object of enjoyment, the enjoyer, and the enjoyment itself. Now the heart is fully awake. In Nirvikalpa Samadhi, the first thing you feel is that your heart is larger than the universe itself. The universe appears as a tiny dot inside your vast heart. Here, there is infinite bliss and infinite power. You not only feel bliss, but actually become bliss. This samadhi is similar to the divine consciousness described in the Shankara tradition, a state of deep love for the world and everything in it, recognizing the divinity in everything. It is entering a celestial realm. You experienced Ritambara Pragya, where your thoughts spontaneously manifest into reality. The past and future are blended into the eternal present. Everything is now. Everything is here. Time and space have been transcended. The exalted, blissful state may last for a few hours or a few days. Initially, there is no wish to return from this state, and it is said that if one stays at this level for 21 days, there is every possibility that the soul will leave the body for good. However, through continued practice, you are able to come down from Nirvikalpa Samadhi and immediately function normally in the world. Both Savikalpa and Nirvikalpa Samadhis are considered temporary states in that you can fully experience them by withdrawing from normal life. Even the great enlightened yogis close their eyes to meditate. However, the yogi's normal life is not as most people experience it. A yogi is living a life fully supported by the unbounded field of infinite possibilities. Imagine the whole of manifest creation is touching the front of your body, and the unmanifest pure awareness is touching your back. You lean forward and you are in the localized world, but the non-local is fully there, supporting your every breath. To quote Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, quote, "It's living 200% of life," unquote. Level 3, Dharma Mega Samadhi. An even higher level of Samadhi is Dharma Mega, or the Cloud of Virtue Samadhi. Patanjali says that this level arises when you have lost even the desire to know God or to be enlightened. This Samadhi cannot be gained by effort. It reveals itself when all effort has dissolved. It is a divine gift beyond notions of absolute and relative. When even the temptations of the yogic powers cause no distractions, it is said that pure knowledge showers down like a cloud of virtue, bringing liberation and the bliss of the divine. This is Jivan Mukta, liberation while still in a physical body. The afflictions of all karmas have been removed. The yogi becomes ever free and shines in his or her own glory. It is said that in this state, the yogi sees without eyes, tastes without tongue, hears without ears, smells without nose, and touches without skin. His or her mere intention can work miracles. The yogi simply wills, and everything comes into being. Sahaja Samadhi. Some contemporary saints, such as Ramana Maharshi, have also talked about Sahaja Samadhi. This Samadhi could probably be placed between Nirvikalpa and Dharma Mega Samadhis. It is where the inner silence is maintained along with normal daily activities. It is being able to maintain the experience of Nirvikalpa Samadhi at all times. Here you radiate divine illumination. The divine is perfectly manifesting through you at every second. You are filled with divine grace. It can perhaps be likened to the unity consciousness of the Shankara tradition. With Samadhi as your goal, you should be regular with your spiritual practices. Enjoy the blessings that each day brings and know that everything will be revealed at the right moment. And that concludes the page here on chopra.com. I'll provide a link to this in the description. But meanwhile, my gosh, it took a little bit more time than expected. We only have about 5 minutes left here to wrap things up. So now the question you may ask is, what state of or stage of samadhi do I see myself placed? And from these descriptions, the only description that can be remotely comparable would be Sahaja Samadhi. Now, does that mean that I consider that I've reached the ultimate place of liberation? No, it does not. Each day is a new adventure for me, and there's much knowledge that I still do not have. In fact, I don't even regard that I even know my proper name properly. I don't, there's much information, much knowledge that is yet to be revealed to me. But having said that, I can confidently assert that I am in a state of perpetual bliss and ecstasy 24/7, even while I sleep. And it's an uninterruptible state. In other words, doesn't matter what sort of toxic environment that I'm in or who I'm talking to or what I'm doing, nothing can interrupt this continuous state of experience. And this is what empowers me, and this is what drives me to keep producing content and evolving over time. I don't expect to be 100% polished overnight. I'm going to start uploading videos and doing more activities as time goes on. But my ultimate goal here is not to boast or to make it about myself in any way. Because from my perspective through having this experience is that although, yes, I'm in a state of bliss, to me, it's not even about me. In fact, on one level, I am a spectator even to my own experience. And I am a big cheerleader, a big fan of everybody else. I want everybody else to be even more amazing than they are right now, to experience this latent potential, this spark of divinity within. And that is something that is purely on an individual basis. And the highest levels, these highest states, I don't even regard any guru as having the power to bestow upon anyone, but a personal relationship between yourself and the Absolute. I can say that certain individuals who have reached a higher place, they can make the way easier. They can help prepare people mentally and so forth to receive this higher empowerment from the ultimate. But the ultimate is so magnificent and so great that it's not about creating a personality cult. It's not about putting one person on a pedestal and saying, "Oh, praise me." No, because even after reaching a state of enlightenment, it's still on one level just kind of like an advanced beginner stage. Yes, life becomes a lot easier. Yes, every moment is a joy. And that in of itself can be considered to be an achievement, right? Especially considering all the suffering that's in the world. I mean, when you're liberated from suffering, that is something to be appreciated and to experience with gratitude, to have that thanks that you are at this state. But at the same time, you look around and you see how much work there is to do, because it's not like everybody is plugged into this. And you naturally want to see more people plugged into this more ultimate state of consciousness and awareness. And even when you cross that threshold, life doesn't become less of an adventure. It's like the more you know you can still learn and experience, because this knowledge is boundless. And life becomes not about a limitation, but about the potential of what is possible in every moment and in every situation. And I'm just personally very excited about the future and what happens next. And if you want to reach out to me and communicate, or if I can be of assistance to anybody, you're welcome to visit divinity.com. Welcome to join social media, whether it be Reddit or the Slack space that's set up. This is Atmaboda signing off, and we're going to do another podcast today coming up. Until next time, bye-bye.